Hey Chapelhill kids!
I'm Juliana.
And I'm Jenna.
We are so glad you joined us for Bake Off.
That's right, we're learning all about patience.
Patience is waiting until later for what you want now.
Have you ever had to wait for something?
Every single day.
Yeah, me too.
All this month we've been learning how to wait with patience instead of complaining or getting angry.
Like when you're hungry and it's not dinner time yet, but you have to be patient.
Oh, the worst. Or when you want to ask your mom a question, but she's in the middle of a phone call, you can be patient.
Yeah, and when something happens to you that just doesn't make any sense, you can be patient and you can trust that God has a bigger plan.
A great way to keep our eyes on God is by worshiping Him. Jenna, are you ready to worship?
Always. Let's do it all together. Everybody up on your feet and let's worship.
I could search around forever in a world that leaves me empty, but I'd be looking for no reason. When I have you, there's nothing missing. When it's just me, I'm incomplete. Every part of you is what I need. You're all I've got, my everything. There's no me without. There's no me without. When I'm with you, I lack nothing, 'cause you never left me wanting. God, your love will last forever, and you're never gonna fail me. When it's just me, I'm incomplete. Every part of you is what I need. You're all I've got, my everything. There's no me without. There's no me without. If I leave or stay, you still remain. Apart from you, I'm wandering. You're teaching me identity. Without you, I am nothing. If I leave or stay, you still remain. Apart from you, I'm wandering. You're teaching me identity. 'Cause there's no me without. There's no me without.
God, when you draw near, you change the atmosphere. There's no shame anymore. The sin that held my heart, you have lifted off. I await this in your love. In you, I come alive. Eyes wide, dreams inspired. Your truth has opened my eyes. My heart's alive, my heart's alive. The weight has been released. No pressure on me, no pressure on me. Love has rescued me. rescued me. Forever I'm free, forever I'm free. Oh.
I'm Lawson, and I cannot wait to share the story I've got for you today. Actually, I can wait. That's the whole point. And you can wait too.
Lawson? Lawson!
Patience, Mom! Mother? Ma'am? Anyway, so I heard this story from my cousin Tara, who teaches 5th grade. And she showed her class a picture of a dog she rescued from the dog shelter. Oh, look at him, what a face, he's such a cute dog. Look at him, he's a good puppy, he's a good dog. Anyhow, Rashida, a student in her class, told my cousin she was inspired to rescue a dog too. So when she gets home, she begs her parents to rescue a dog. Please, 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 please. And she adds, I'll never ask for anything again, ever! And amazingly, Rashida's parents agree. But Mom says, only if you take care of it yourself. And Rashida's so excited, she does a happy dance! And she chases her tail like a puppy! But there's one tiny catch. They told her she had to wait an entire month to adopt the dog. Rashida's like, I can wait, no problem. But by 1 week in, Rashida's like, can we get my dog earlier? I hate waiting. This is no fair. And she throws a tantrum. Like a toddler. Mom's finally had enough. She puts her foot down. Hard. Mom tells Rashida they need to make a list of things to do while you wait. And Rashida discovers all sorts of things to work on. She makes healthy dog treats and tests them herself. She practices how to train a dog. Sit, stay, good doggy. She plans out the best route to take her dog for walks on. And she warns the neighbors there might be a little barking at first. And by the time Rashida's setting up a tiny dog bed, she discovers 3 weeks have flown by and it's the day to get her dog. And they all live happily ever after. Mostly. So kids, never cuddle a brand new dog without a change of clothes handy. But do remember that patience is waiting until later for what you want now. And I'll see you guys later. Are you gonna say cut?
Cut!
Whew! All right, do we have any snacks?
It's Bethany's Bacon Corner, Bethany's Bacon Corner. Come on down to Bethany's, Bethany's Bacon Corner. Got bacon and eggs, got bacon and eggs. We're making what's next? I don't know.
Not used to that yet. Well, hey everyone, and welcome to Bethany's Baking Corner, where we learn baking basics with a side of patience. I know it can be super hard to wait for something when you want it right now, and that's why you've got to sprinkle in some patience, especially when you bake. Today, we are welcoming back our guest, Tofu Tyler, who made the extremely special intro for the show.
You are so welcome.
Today, we are going to be making Bethany's beloved cupcakes.
And like we learned last week, we need to make sure we check all the ingredients, have the right tools, and follow instructions.
Exactly. I am so proud of you. So let's jump right on in. We are going to start by creaming a half a cup of butter and 1 cup of sugar together until light and fluffy. Perfect. Now beat in 2 eggs, 1 at a time.
Wait.
Fantastic. Now we will add 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and a half a teaspoon of salt, mixing till combined. Excellent. Beautiful baking. All we have to do now is add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla and a cup of milk and then mix until it's smooth. Incredible. Now let's put it in the pan.
Oh boy. All right.
Okay. Good job. Now we're gonna put it into our preheated oven and bake at 350 degrees for 18 minutes.
18 minutes is way too long. Let's eat them now.
No, they're not ready yet. It's not ready.
It's not a cupcake.
Exactly. You know, sometimes you can't just decide when you want things to be done. We have to follow all the instructions. Waiting for things to cook can be the hardest part, but waiting till the right time makes all the difference. When we don't, we can just end up with a really, really big mess.
Yeah, I kind of see what you mean.
Good. Well, we can work on this more next week, but until then, remember, keep sprinkling on patience and don't miss next week as Tofu Tyler wraps up his baking journey here on Bethany's Baking Corner. Bye, everyone. Bye!
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story inspired by the book of Genesis, chapter 25, verses 24 through 34.
When Abraham's son Isaac grew up, he married a girl named Rebekah. But it didn't seem as though they'd be able to have children.
Please, God, give us children.
But God answered Isaac's prayers, and Rebekah became pregnant with twins.
Isaac, I'm pretty sure they're having a wrestling match in here.
Oh, definitely boys.
Rebekah asked God about the struggle she could feel. He told her,
2 nations are in your body. One nation will be stronger than the other. The older son will serve the younger one.
When it was time for the babies to be born, they came out fighting. Esau was born first. He came out with a strong set of lungs and a head full of red hair. His brother Jacob was born moments later, still holding on to Esau's heel.
How on earth did he manage that?
The brothers shared the same birthday, but as they grew, that was about the only thing they had in common. Esau loved to roam far out into the wilderness.
I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more.
Jacob preferred the comforts of home.
The sun is so hot. I'll just take a little nap in the tent.
Esau loved to hunt wild animals.
That is one excellent wildebeest.
Jacob preferred a different type of hunting.
Not you, not you. Ha! The perfect ripe honeydew melon.
One fine morning, Esau headed out into the wilds in search of adventure and some nice, juicy venison.
I'll feast tonight.
But Esau went all morning without spotting a single rabbit.
Ugh, should have packed a lunch.
In the afternoon, he tracked a deer for hours, but he missed his chance as the deer sprang away.
Ah!
At last, Esau headed for home, defeated. He was tired and irritated and so hungry he could eat an entire woolly mammoth.
Must eat food.
As Esau neared camp, a delicious smell wafted out to greet him.
Food!
Jacob had been home all day, resting and plucking his favorite herbs from his garden.
A little coriander, some dill.
As evening approached, Jacob used his savory herbs to whip up a tasty red lentil stew and a batch of fresh, buttery bread.
This will crisp up nicely on the hot stones.
By the time Esau had arrived in camp, Jacob's stew was simmered to perfection, and the bread was hot and crusty.
Food! Food!
Esau lunged for the stew cauldron, ready to grab a bowl, but Jacob blocked his path.
Not so fast.
Step aside, I'm hungry.
Clearly.
Just let me have some of that red stew.
Certainly.
Esau tried to dive for the stew pot again.
Just one itty-bitty thing.
What?
Well, first, give me the rights that belong to you as the oldest son.
Esau spent more time listening to his stomach than his brain. So in that moment, his stomach won out.
Look, I'm dying of hunger. If I die, those rights are pointless anyway. Now give me that stew.
Esau sprang forward once more.
Promise to give me your rights.
Fine.
Fine what?
Fine, I promise.
Promise what?
I promise to give you my rights as the oldest.
Cool. Help yourself.
Jacob stepped aside as Esau hurled himself at the stew pot.
Stew!
Esau happily gorged himself on rich stew and fresh bread. But as his stomach filled up, he had time to stop and think again. Esau had just traded the rights of a lifetime for a meal that would only last him a few hours.
It's hard to imagine being so hungry that you give up something as important as a birthright. But that's exactly what Esau did. He traded his own rights of a lifetime for a meal that would fill his stomach for only a few hours. But in the moment, when Esau was tired, hungry, and impatient, he gave up something that was really important and valuable. Sometimes when we're impatient, there's a big cost. That's why we need to remember today, if you don't wait, it could cost you. You might not lose your birthright like Esau did, but you could lose screen time privileges. You could miss out on doing some fun things with your family. You could hurt a friendship by saying something that you regret. That's why we need to learn to wait until later for things that we want right now. We need to sprinkle in some patience. It takes a lot of trust to wait for something you want right now. You have to trust God and believe that His timing is always perfect, even when you can't understand why. That reminds me of the memory verse for this month, Psalm 27:14. Wait for the Lord. Be strong. Don't lose hope. Wait for the Lord. We hope you guys had a great time with us today because we know that we did. Download our devotionals in the description below to help give you some ideas on how to grow in patience by putting your trust in God. We love you guys and we can't wait to see you next time.